Good evening, everyone. It is Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern on the East Coast, 5:16 here on the West Coast where I am in Los Angeles. And joining me now is Salil Zaveri. He is a U.S. businessman who lives on the island of Puerto Rico for several years. Mr. Zaveri was arrested by police in Puerto Rico on a golf course. Specifically, this is the Wyndham Golf Course Resort in Puerto Rico. He was arrested, charged with animal cruelty, essentially. And we have spoken before. There are no limits to this interview in terms of what I ask and what I can't ask. He's here to answer everything. He has asked me to specifically show a video that he Salil, can you see me?
Yeah, I could see it.
Could you hear anything I was saying?
No, it was kind of breaking up.
Okay.
You mentioned
So
that you were going to show a video, I think.
yeah, so I tell you what we're gonna do, simply because of the bad connection.
No, it was kind
So
of
let me, and I'm looking at it now. Everyone watching
Okay.
on the
Mentioned that
Facebook, I'm gonna try
you were gonna show
again.
it.
Yeah, so I tell you, the connection is pretty bad, and people are telling me that. Can you, in the Facebook comments, I'm looking at it, can you hear me now? Is the audio
Yes,
better, everyone who is watching? And Salil, you can hear me, correct?
yes.
Great. Bad connection, but I hope he gets in jail in time. I hear everyone in the comments. Please, just understand that, I certainly interviewed the people initially who witnessed it. Always want to interview the accused, and that's what this is about. Now is working. Okay, good. So we'll go here. For those who couldn't hear me, for those who just joined, welcome. On screen with us now is Salil Zaveri. He is the U.S. businessman who was arrested after shooting and killing a dog on a golf course in Puerto Rico. He has not done an interview yet, so this is his first time. There are no restrictions, no limits to this interview. He is going to take all of my questions. Nothing is off the table, so to speak. He did provide me with a video that he recorded on the day of the incident, and I will show that. But first, Salil Zaveri, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, David.
And thank you for your time. Tell me, it's very simple. You shot and killed a dog. You do not dispute that. You shot and killed the dog. The police say it was animal cruelty. Why did you shoot and kill the dog?
David, I was directly charged by this dog, and there were two dogs next to him. These are not pets. These are not the typical stray dogs. I'm used to stray dogs all my life. I was born in India in 1960, and until 1969 I was there. There were plenty of stray dogs. I came to New York when I was 9 years old, 1969, and there were stray dogs in New York. I lived in Puerto Rico 6 years now, and there's stray dogs everywhere. I don't fear dogs. I've had dogs all my life. I know dog behavior. I've adopted 7 or 8 dogs. We have 2 now. And I know dogs. I know very well what's a rabid dog looking to attack me versus just a dog. And these were 3 dogs on the golf course that are part of a pack of dogs. There's several packs of dogs at the golf course. And I played at this golf course over 50 times. I'm a member there. And each time I go there, I see these dogs hunting iguanas. One of them goes and grabs the windpipe of the iguana, and then the others shred into it. And that's their lunch, dinner, breakfast, whatever. And these 3 were in the mode of hunting when the first one came towards me. If he would have jumped into the cart, I shot him at the very last moment that I could avoid. And if he would have jumped into the cart, he would have grabbed my windpipe right here and the other two would have jumped in and started shredding me and eating me, and like an iguana, and the other dogs of the pack would have joined in. So this was not a stray dog. I was not afraid of a dog simply biting me, because that would have just been rabies at worst case scenario. And then I would have had 14 injections to get rid of rabies. This was not a rabies situation. This was a situation where I knew on this golf course that these are hunting dogs. These are dogs placed by the golf course to eradicate the iguana population at the golf course. My friend was attacked with his dog a couple of weeks before that. So I know what these dogs do. They don't intend to eat, people. But if they started on an attack with me, that's what it would end up in. So this was
Salil,
fear.
I saw the dog, and with all due respect, I mean, the dog, I guess, could have bitten you, but eating you, that sounds a little dramatic.
Well, these three dogs are part of a pack, David. They eat iguanas. They've attacked dogs, pets, my friend's pet, and other pets. They've attacked, people on the golf course. And this particular dog was about to jump in. If you look at the video closely, you'll see he was moments from leaping into and he wouldn't ate me right away. They all eat together. So he would have grabbed my windpipe. He would have jumped into my cart, grabbed my windpipe, and the other two dogs would have started shredding me. People can search on YouTube and say wild dogs hunting, and you'll see wild dogs on golf courses and other places attacking big wildebeest, people, kids. Just in Long Island 2 years ago, two dogs started, shredding a girl apart, and the cops had to come and shoot the dogs. Until then, she was being mauled. So for me,
Okay,
I know
why don't we do this? Why don't I play the video that you sent to me so that people can see exactly what we're talking about? This is a video that Salil, it has not been seen publicly yet. This is a video that Salil recorded on the day of the incident. You see Salil on the golf course, and he is in a golf cart, and you see the actual dog that he ended up killing. You see the dog. Is that correct? Am I describing it correctly?
Yeah, I mean, I was driving past them to go to my golf ball. First of all, let me just give a little background of this. We had taken our first shot off the tee box on the 17th hole. And as we rounded, it's a dog leg left, which means we couldn't really see the dogs on the fairway until we got off the tee box and drove further and made a left turn. And as we made the turn, the dogs were directly ahead of us. And that's an alert mode when you see that thing right in front of you, and when I know what these dogs do. But then we hit our second shot, and in the newspapers, I'm seeing that it was about my golf ball, that this dog took my golf ball, and I was angry about that, and that's why I shot the dog. That's not the case. The golf shot that landed right next to the dog in question was my friend Tori's ball. It had nothing to do with my ball. So I was then actually amused by it, because just before me driving forward, that dog in question grabbed Tori's ball off the green, and he was either playing with it or attacking it, but I thought he was playing with it. So I wasn't concerned any longer. At that point, I thought that was nice. I love dogs. And I thought that's nice that they're just hanging out on a golf course. So I got in my golf cart after I hit my second shot to the right side of the green, and I started driving towards my ball, and I had my camera on, actually. I wasn't expecting to shoot the dog. My gun wasn't unholstered at that point. My camera was in my right hand. My steering wheel was in my left hand, and I'm driving towards my ball, actually videotaping them as I go by. And all of a sudden, the dog in question from far away comes directly at me like a beeline while he's barking. And I dropped my camera. And then, of course, I went into my defensive mode, knowing that if he got into the cart, then he would have grabbed my windpipe, and the other two dogs would have joined it. That's
Leo, let me play the video, and I have a couple of other questions for you. about this grabbing your windpipe thing. Hold on just one second. I'm going to play the video so everyone can see it for themselves.
Sure.
Let me share my screen. All right, can you see the video, Salil?
I can.
Everyone can see the video. So here is the video provided by Salil. All right, I'm going to play it again. You see everyone in the video, what looks to be 3 dogs in the distance. All right, so Salil, let me turn off, let me stop sharing. All right, so I hear what you're saying about he's gonna grab my windpipe. This, I mean, it's not a human-sized dog. So again, they're your words. You're welcome to say whatever you want, but I guess I just find it kind of hard to believe that you would think that the dog would like bite you. Okay, if you were like, oh, I thought the dog was going to bite me. Okay, that's your defense. But like grab your windpipe, kill you, eat you. I'm not.
Well, that's how these dogs hunt. They grab the windpipe. If
But
you
it's a
see them,
small dog.
it's a hunting dog that attacks iguanas. You see the 3 of them. It's not a small dog per se. I mean, the 2 next to him are about 90 pounds each. And the first one's job is always to grab the windpipe. You know, the second dog and the third dog start to rip at you. I mean, all the people have to do is go online, go to YouTube, and say wild dogs hunting, and take a look at exactly how wild dogs hunt. And then you'll see that that's their method of operation. I see it every day. I've played golf there 50 times. So when I see them doing that to the iguanas, and my friend told me that a couple of weeks before, those dogs attacked his dog and him. So now I know that they're capable of doing that. So that's really the mindset of somebody who's had many dogs, to be alert. I'm not going to let him into the cart. I'm not going to take a chance. He's going, if you play it in slow motion, you'll see that he's coming right at me, directly at me, and the other 2 are right there.
So
Just shooting slow motion.
we saw the dog running toward your golf cart. We saw you drive away. What happened next that led you to draw your weapon and fire? Take us play by play.
Yeah. So as I went by him and he's coming at me as like a beeline, I dropped my camera. At that point, it wasn't amusing anymore. It was now fear for my life. You know, that's what I was concerned in the first place before I hit my second shot. But because he was playing with a golf ball, I thought, oh, well, this is very nice. They're nice dogs. Well, it turned out that dogs will be dogs. They're hunting dogs, and they kill iguanas every day, 24/7, 365. And that's what they went into, a mode of hunt. So I dropped my camera. I started to turn away from there. I started to turn right and try to get away from the green and away from these dogs. And I was relieved at that moment. I was actually amused for a second that, holy cow, I got away from him. Because as I turned, he stopped. And I thought, oh, okay, that's good. So as I turn and I'm starting to go back, I realize from now, as I turn to, then I see him on my right side as I'm going, that he's actually going towards my friend Tori, who was going for his ball. Tori was going up the left side for his ball. And this dog actually broke off his attack from me to actually head to Tori. And Tori was now going to be attacked. So I turned around again to try to protect Tori because I had my gun drawn already. And I didn't want Tori to be the victim of these 3 dogs. So then he turned again back towards me. As I turned, now I'm closer to him because I was actually going towards Tori to back up Tori. And the dog turned around again. And this time in that same beeline motion that he was previously when he was further away, this time he was very, very close. And when he was about 10 feet away, he was ready to leap in. And I was fortunate to get a shot off because if I didn't, he would have been in the car at my neck. And then the other two dogs would have gotten me. At that point, the other two dogs took off. This dog fell to the ground with his head pointed towards me on his back. And I looked back to see if the other two dogs were there coming at me, but they actually took off. They probably never heard a gunshot. Iguanas don't fight back. In my case, I fought back and the dogs took off. And so I stepped out almost instantly because I saw the dog wriggling on the floor. And I felt really bad that I shot it. I didn't want it to go to a slow, painful death. I did what I had to do, but I didn't want it to suffer. So I walked up to it and I shot down towards the head. And because he was moving, I ended up shooting straight into the ground. I saw the bullet hole right in the ground next to his head because he moved his head. I took another shot, and again I tried to get the head. He moved, and I ended up getting his neck. At that point, he died right away. So I was relieved that he's not suffering. I was relieved that I was not attacked. I was relieved that there were no two other dogs pouncing on me. And at that point, the situation ceased to be a dangerous situation to myself. And what had happened.
A couple of questions. You say that these are dogs who are wild, but they probably have never heard gunfire. You and I both know there's gunfire on the island of Puerto Rico all the time. So if
not on the golf
if
course.
we're
There's
to
no
buy
shots on the golf course.
right, but the dogs don't. I mean, how do you know that this dog didn't belong to someone?
I know them. I see these wild dogs. These are the same dogs. I see them. I admire them that they can hunt so well. They surround the iguana. They actually enter water. If iguana jumps in, they go from different sides of the water and actually corner it, yank it from the neck, bring it back out, and then they shred it alive. I see this every day.
I get that, but I've seen dogs do the same thing in the middle of San Juan. So how do you know that they didn't hang out at the golf course, but they weren't somebody's pet?
These were not pets because I see these same very dogs every day. I played there 50 times, David. This is my golf course. I'm a member there. There are several dog packs, and I see dogs, so I'm a dog lover. I have two dogs. I've adopted 8, 9 dogs over the years. I always admired dogs. I've had 5 cats adopted. I've taken 4 dogs, Satos, from Puerto Rico to Washington, D.C., so they can have a home. I've done all that. I know dogs very well. I know dogs by face. It's like knowing you. I know them by face. I know them by the characteristics. This very dog and the other ones have been hunting and shredding iguanas in front of us. So I knew it wasn't a pet.
All right.
And
So
no pet ever come on the golf course.
you were licensed to carry the weapon legally. I've confirmed that you did have a license to carry a weapon on the island of Puerto Rico. Your weapon, that weapon has been taken from you after the shooting. Do you have other weapons?
No, I only have that one weapon.
Why did you need a license to carry a weapon on the island?
I've always had guns for 40 years. I lived in Long Island. I've had a shotgun for home protection. I've had a rifle for home protection. Over here, I've had a gun for 5 years for home protection. And then I converted that to a concealed carry 24/7 because everything you see in the news, there are people rampaging everywhere. I mean, I could be on a golf course. I could be in a restaurant. I could be in a mall, and somebody's going to come in with an automatic weapon. And I'm a firm believer that if everybody who's sane and qualified, I mean, in 40 years, I've never fired a gun, ever. Never had to fire a gun in 40 years. So this is not like I'm John Wayne, that I choose to, shoot dogs or shoot people. In 40 years, my history, I'm a 60-year-old, and 40 years of having guns, rifles, shotguns, pistols, I've never, ever fired a gun except in this one situation.
So your gun has been taken from you, and the golf course has banned you as a member. That's what they told me. That's what Wyndham said. You're no longer allowed there. And Wyndham also said that weapons are not allowed on the golf course. So why did you bring your gun on the golf course?
No, that's not correct. When you go to a bank, there's a sign right at the window that says no weapons. We had an inspector also go after this incident to go and actually take photographs, and there are no signage anywhere that said no arms. And I've had people come there as guests of mine, and they've come armed and concealed carry.
I hear you, but I'm telling you that Wyndham, I hear you, but Wyndham
They
told
change
me,
their rules if they like, but it was allowed. And we always carried the weapons. We always had it, whether we go to restaurant, bars. If I go to a bank and it says no arms, then it stays concealed, locked in my glove box or my trunk. But where
Wyndham
it's
told
allowed, it's with me.
Salil, Wyndham told me that guns are not allowed on the golf course. Are they lying?
Well, I don't know if they're lying. There's no signage. Go enter. If they put a new sign up, that's up to them now. But if
I
you
realize that,
enter,
but those are the rules. You're a member. You sign something when you become a member. They are telling me that guns are not allowed.
I'm not aware of that. You know, if they did throw that into their new document, that guns are not allowed, they could have revised it. They could be telling you guns not allowed as of now. They did not have that in the paperwork before. And if they did have it, then they also need to have signage. When you enter the property, there's a guardhouse there. There has to be a clear sign saying weapons prohibited. So they did not follow their own rules if that's what they wanted. And they
I
also
want
placed the dogs on the property, putting us at risk.
I want to read a statement from the prosecutor's office, the attorney general. I requested a statement from them and they said, quote, up until now, all the evidence obtained by the state attorney, including approximately 10 eyewitnesses and sworn statements, point to the fact that the act committed by Mr. Salil Zaveri was an unjustified one of total cruelty against an animal. According to the assessed evidence, it does not appear that the animal had attempted against the accused's safety or that any other person that was on the golf course, nor has a previous incident similar to this one have ever been reported, end quote.
So if it never happened before, that doesn't mean it didn't happen that day. If you play back the video slowly, David, and you just pause at that dog just facing directly at me, just a few feet from me, and two other dogs right behind me. And these are hunting dogs, these are not pets. So it happened. When it happened, it happened. Anything happens for the first time. Fortunately, I was armed. Fortunately, I was able to defend myself. What it was an elderly man or woman sitting there. They would have had a mauling and possible death, you know. I was
So
fortunate.
I hear you. You are the way the justice system works. You are innocent until proven guilty. It's why I wanted to interview you because I wanted to get your side of the story. But allow me to ask you some questions. If
Sure.
I'm walking down the street and a dog runs toward me, I might be intimidated. I probably would. And I love dogs. Okay. But if a dog was making a beeline toward me, I would. But you're furthering this narrative that that dog was going to kill you. Who's to say that the dog wasn't running at you because of a golf cart? Right? He sees a golf cart, likes a golf cart, doesn't like it. That's what's chasing. Like, I don't understand to me how you're making that jump between this dog coming toward me is an assassin.
Well, because these dogs, David, actually are assassinating iguanas all day long. And they've attacked dogs, my friend's pet, just a couple of weeks before, and my friend. So we know they're attacking iguanas and people. Now, if he loves golf carts, let him go find another one. I'm not going to be the victim. I'm not going to be the next meal.
Okay, that's fair, but hold on. Let's say he likes the golf carts. If he's coming after the golf cart, you're fully entitled to say, I don't want him coming after me, but that doesn't justify you killing the dog.
If he would have gotten into the cart, there's three dogs, they would have attacked me and killed me. Okay, David, on YouTube, I'm not making this up. Go on YouTube. I see this every day. I see them attacking and shredding an iguana alive. They grab the windpipe and they shred it alive. And this poor iguana, it's cruel that Wyndham chooses to eradicate. That's cruelty. I mean, if they really want to get rid of iguanas, they should trap them and go set them free in the jungle.
Mr. Zaveri, I have a Labradoodle. My Labradoodle is no assassin, I promise you that. But if he were outside and there was a possum, he'd probably go after the possum. Let's say he killed the possum. Well, that doesn't mean he's going to start killing people.
I know, David, we're talking about your Labradoodle. I have a cockapoo and a miniature schnauzer. And I used to have a yellow lab that used to go and kill rabbits and bring it home. That's different. I'm talking about these dog packs who hunt together. We're not talking about a single dog. A single dog may or may not do anything other than a bite.
Had you ever
We're
seen
talking
these
about
had you ever seen these dogs being friendly with other members of the golf course?
never. They're never friendly. They never approach any people.
Had you ever seen anyone petting these dogs?
Never, ever. We don't go anywhere near these dogs because they would tear us apart. You can ask any golfer there. Nobody would go touch these dogs. These dogs are killer dogs. These are not your Labradoodle. These are not family pets. These are killer dogs placed there by the golf course to eradicate iguanas.
You had your chance to tell the police, and for the record, you have said
I
that
didn't have a chance. I didn't have a chance.
no.
I was never interviewed.
Hold on. Let me finish my statement. You've had your chance to make your case to the police. The police
I have
interviewed
not.
you. They hold on, Salil. The police arrested you. They asked you some questions prior to.
No, they did not. They did not.
You told me
I
they
can
did, and
walk
you
you through.
complimented them for being professional.
They're professional in how they cared for me and not hurting me at the jail, and how they made sure my handcuffs weren't too tight, and making sure that if the press was outside the window of the jailhouse, that they didn't make me a victim of a show. They let me sit privately in the cell till my court trial. So,
Did anyone ask you questions about what happened?
no, nobody's
Am I
asking
the
me.
am I the only person who has asked you questions about what
The
happened?
first person. I was arrested without being interviewed. I can walk you through what happened exactly.
Please do.
So right after the shooting, my responsibility would have been to go to the clubhouse and then report that, and then have the police authorities come in and for me to make a report to say I had a shooting, that I had the risk of my life, and I had shot the dog. That's how it works. So that never happened. As we approached the 18th hole, and the next thing would have been the clubhouse, the police surrounded me there because the group ahead of us on the 18th hole are the witnesses. First of all, there would be only a total of 7 witnesses plus me. So when there's 10, I don't know where the other people are fabricating themselves from. So I, my 3 partners and my golf group would be one foursome on the 17th hole. Ahead of us on the tee box was the 18th hole group. So after I took the first shot at that dog, when he was leaping at me, then as I explained, I looked behind to see if the other dogs left. Then I got out and I put the dog, out of its misery. I didn't want it to suffer. What those people on the 18th hole would have seen on the tee box about 200 feet away, what they would have seen is after the first gunshot, they would have turned around and said, oh, what's going on? And so when they looked back, they would have seen me coming out of the cart. They would have seen me taking shot number 2 and 3, as I explained. They wouldn't have seen shot number 1. They were busy playing golf going forward, not playing backwards towards us. So they got to the 18th hole, and then the clubhouse, which is right after that, and they called the police. They made a report, and the policeman arrived, the inspector, at the clubhouse, spoke to these 4 people who said, oh, it must have been about the golf ball. It wasn't about the golf ball. They must have said, and I'm speculating, I haven't seen their testimony. I'm going by what's in the papers of what they've said. So they've also supposedly said that it was about the golf ball, that I took 2 shots, then I played golf, and I went back and shot him 1 more time, saying, here, this is a free shot. That's exactly not how it happened. It's completely opposite. I took 1 shot to save my life.
So Salil, let me ask you this. You were given the Miranda warning, right? That is, you have the right to remain silent.
That happened next. So I'm giving you who made the report. They got to the clubhouse, they made the report. We were coming off the 18th green, and the police surrounded me. They said, wait here. 1 girl, policewoman, read me my rights. Nobody else, nor her, talked to us. They didn't ask my group. They didn't ask me. They said, wait. I said, I'm carrying a weapon on my ankle. They said, hold on. It's okay, hold on. And they all had their weapons, on their hands on their weapon. and they didn't want me to take it out. They didn't want me to give it to them. They didn't want to take it. They just wanted me to wait. So I waited. It took 5, 7, 8, 10 minutes, it seemed like. On the hole-in-one, there was a big crowd there that must have heard from these people before, from the 18th hole, that went by and must have said, oh, this guy shot the dog. And then they must have gone to the clubhouse and made the report. So now everybody's watching, thinking I'm an animal cruelty person. They're cheering as I'm getting arrested, but I'm going a little fast. The inspector came back down to me on the 18th hole after speaking to the 4 people, the 4 witnesses of the 18th hole. They came down to me and he pointed like this, turn around. I said, can I explain what happened? He said, turn around. He didn't speak English, so I couldn't say, nor did he understand anything I was saying. My group was saying, we were attacked, we were attacked, we were attacked. It didn't matter because he didn't understand English. The girl that was reading me my Miranda rights wasn't able to speak to him. He had made up his mind based on the 4 witnesses that I'm guilty. So I'm being arrested. So I turned around. I don't resist officers. You know, I've seen all the things that can go wrong when you resist an arrest. So I just said, okay, fine. I guess I'm going to have to explain this to somebody later. I'm not going to talk about it here with 10 police officers, you know, who might have to subdue me if I'm resisting. So I just turned around. They put the handcuffs on me. They took me away. Subsequently, they may have asked my group. I know one of my people in my group was told that he was told 2 days later to go to the police station or a district attorney or prosecutor and make a statement. I have not been approached to make a statement. I was sitting in the jailhouse overnight for about 27 hours. Then I was taken to Fajardo for a bail setting. Now, I say they're very professional. I don't think the police officer did anything wrong. He had 4 witnesses. I mean, when 4 people tell you some guy shot the dog, yeah, he's right. He came down, he arrested me. He didn't need me to say I didn't do it. Maybe everybody says they didn't do it. So he doesn't need to hear my statement then it's time to go to court, according to the officer. He did his job. And you know,
let me ask you this. You were given the Miranda warning. You didn't have to speak to anybody, but you're choosing to do this interview. Why are you talking to me?
I'm talking to you because this thing has gone out of control. I wish the officer would have understood English, or if I spoke Spanish, it's my fault. You know, I live in Puerto Rico. I should learn Spanish. I've been here 6 years. I'm guilty of that. If I knew how to speak Spanish, I could have addressed that to the officer and said, officer, I didn't do it. Maybe he would have understood me. Maybe he would have listened to me. You know, maybe I could have said, talk to my group here. He would have listened to them. But he didn't know what I was saying. He didn't know what my people were saying. And I was arrested. He was being professional. He did the right thing. The other police officers didn't do anything wrong. They treated me well. They took me to the courthouse. They made sure all the rules were followed. I'm happy to be part of Puerto Rico. I could have been in some other country in, you know, Asia or Africa or South America with different rules. And I was so happy that they were following such great protocol for my care and following the law. I respect the prosecutor. He didn't do anything wrong. He heard from the inspector who said they have 4 witnesses and they're pursuing it.
They now have 10, and it's apparent to me that when you go to court, by the way, do you have an attorney?
I had the original one. Got very upset with me because I made that 1 paragraph statement, you know, because everybody just thought that I shot the dog over a golf ball, that I shot him twice and shot him once more, like here's a free one, you know. And
what he's referring to, everybody, is after his arrest, he sent a text message to the group. Was it the Act 2022 group? Is that right? The WhatsApp group?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you message. And we'll come back to the Act 2022 group because I have a couple of questions about that. But anyway, he sent a text message. It was sent to me. I published it because it was what he was saying was his side of the story. And listen, folks, when somebody's arrested, I want to talk to the witnesses. I want to talk to the police, and I want to talk to the accused. So I let everybody know what the accused, in this case, Mr. Zaveri, was saying. So your attorney was unhappy with that. Do you have a new attorney? Or are you going to represent yourself in court?
Yeah, so my attorney immediately quit. He said, look, we could have had a defense of saying you didn't even do it. I said, wait a minute. You want me to deny that I shot the dog? You want the prosecutor to prove that I shot the dog? I mean, I don't want to have some stupid joke kind of a trial here. I mean, are we just, I admit to what I did wrong. I was defending myself. This was not something that I was happy to do, but I had to do it. And they were upset that I admitted to the fact that I shot the dog. They weren't happy with that. They wanted that as part of the arsenal of a defense. So they quit. They sent me an email and said, we drop you as a client. Then we found somebody else to represent us shortly a couple of days ago. And we couldn't agree on the strategy. He felt that he wanted to postpone it and, wait for the press and everything else to die down. And I said, no, I want to deal with this head on. I want to get this out right away. This is affecting my life, my family. I don't think anybody should think that that's the kind of person I am. I've taken care of dogs all my life, and this is not right. I don't want people to get the wrong impression of me. Now, everybody's upset. A lot of my friends are saying, hey, you're giving away your courtroom possibilities of defending yourself. Look, if the law is such that a man cannot defend himself against 3 wild dogs on a golf course who are eating iguanas every day with their other pack of dogs as a team, and I'm stopping myself from being their next meal, then I don't know what the law is, because these are not pets. These are not somebody's Labradoodle.
Mr. Zaveri, you're facing 10 witnesses who say that you had no justification to shoot the dog.
Well, everybody has different answers. Like, if you look in the jungle, the ostrich sees the lion coming and he
I get it, but Mr. Zaveri, this is a golf course, a really prominent, fancy, rich people golf course in Puerto Rico. This is not the jungle.
I know, but the point I'm saying is everybody deals, David, with the situation differently. Somebody else could have sat there and covered their head like this and hope they don't get eaten, and maybe the dog goes around them. Somebody else might say, oh, maybe he wants to play with my cart. Somebody else might say, maybe he wants to play with you. I know what dogs are because I'm not new to dogs. I know what that attack mode was. If you play the video in slow motion, you'll see he's coming directly at me. That's not a friendly gesture. He's barking and coming at me as a beeline, and the other 2 dogs are right there. And the only thing I could do is defend myself. Now, everybody, witnesses can say, oh, I wouldn't kill a dog. That's up to them.
Are you going to defend? Are you going to defend yourself in court? Are you going to represent yourself in court?
I'm not sure yet, David. I have to find a lawyer that I can agree with. I have to find a lawyer that feels the same way I feel about how the case should be defended. I'm not a lawyer, but I do want the truth to be given. I don't want a whole bunch of games. I don't want delay tactics. I don't want it to kick the tire down the road. They moved to June 16. I didn't need that. I didn't need June 16. I would have wanted to go to, the hearing on May 19th and get this done with in front of a judge. I would have explained it. I would have shown the video. I would have explained all of this, and hopefully people would have said, yeah, all right, you did what you did. Other people can do what they have to do.
Let me ask you a couple of questions about living on the island. How long have you lived in Puerto Rico?
A little more than 6 years.
And what brought you there?
I came here because, when I was in my early 50s, I had thought that because of longevity in my family, my father died at 56, age 56. And I was starting to think, hey, I'm not really going to be that guy because of longevity is not there in my family because of health problems. I thought, okay, maybe I'll die when I'm 55, 60. I better start balancing my life. And to me, Puerto Rico is the most beautiful place. It's a paradise. It reminds me of India, the construction, the cement. It's just like India. The people are warm, friendly, very, very lovely people, beautiful weather. Of course, we had our 2 hurricanes, which is not common. They don't happen regularly, but it did. And I have helped in hurricanes, by the way. I'm a Red Cross volunteer. I've run shelters for the Red Cross. And so I do all of that, to help the community. But the point was that I came here because I love Puerto Rico and I wanted to balance my life. I wanted to work and play, and kind of enjoy life, because if I'm going to die at 60, 65, at least I would have done some things in
Yes, sir.
paradise.
So the Act 2022 group is a group of U.S. businessmen and women who come to the island. They get pretty substantial tax breaks. They have to live on the island 6 months out of the year. You are one of them. Is that correct?
Yes, I live here anywhere from 6 months to 10 months a year because I love it here.
Okay,
And
understood. Tell me just some of the, and everyone mentioning Act 2022, this is a part of the context as to who Mr. Zaveri is. He's not originally from Puerto Rico, but it is part of the reason, a main part of the reason why he lives there. How do you respond, Mr. Zaveri, to the people who are critics of Act 2022 and feel as though your alleged crime, it's alleged because you haven't been convicted, so your alleged crime is just an indication of why a lot of Puerto Ricans who are native to the island, well, who grew up there, even those who live, are against this Act 2022? I mean, I know that's a question that's out there. I know you've wanted to address it. How do you respond?
well, first of all, the Act 2022 community, I think, is amazing in the sense that we're here to enjoy our life, balance our life. Sure, there are tax benefits, but it's not an unfair system. If Puerto Ricans really read the law, they'll see they too can qualify. For example, I'm a consultant. From here, I can export my consulting services to the United States. I can advise people over there. And on that income only, what I earn from people who pay me from New York or Florida, California, on that income, I pay the lower tax. If I consult somebody here, if somebody in Puerto Rico, I pay full tax, just like everyone else. I don't have a discount. I don't have an advantage over local people. I have to pay the same tax as local people if I earn here.
How much
If
of
I
your
earn,
business is actually done with Puerto Ricans on the island?
I would say 10% is here, 90% is there. So my tax is split. That way I pay full tax here.
Gotcha.
I pay the discount there. But here's the interesting thing. People don't realize, let's say my neighbor wants to be a consultant also. And let's say he's born and raised in Puerto Rico, that he didn't come here from elsewhere. He also can get this act, Act 20, for example. He can get the same decree I have. There's no special benefit to me. He can ask for it. And he can export his consulting services, same as me, in New York, Florida, wherever, and pay the same low tax. And he has to pay full tax like I have to pay full tax locally.
So let me ask you, Mr. Zaveri, prior to doing consulting, you worked in the insurance business. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. I want to ask you this simply because as a journalist, when I look into people who are telling their story, I look into their background, I do background checks, have they been arrested, that kind of stuff. Your license in the state of New York was suspended, and you are currently being sued by a couple who claim that you defrauded them out of tens of thousands of dollars, and there's a lawsuit pending against you right now. Do you want to respond to that? Because
Sure.
in terms of
Sure.
a credibility issue, I wanted to give you, this is one of the things that I came up with when I was looking at your background. So I want to give you a chance to respond. And again, the state of New York ruled, based on the accusations made, they ruled to suspend your license.
Right.
Your
So
response.
the situation is this, that the person, sorry,
Your response. No, please, your response.
your screen is frozen. Okay, sorry. So the people who are suing me in New York, they did a fraudulent, sorry, the video is choppy.
I'm sorry, I see you and I hear you, so go ahead.
Okay. So the lawsuit that I have against me is the first I've been in this industry since 1978. Never ever sued. And for somebody who's in the insurance business since 1978 to deal with their first ever lawsuit, recently is, first of all, commendable. I think that we always do the right thing. But more importantly, this was a client who made a fraudulent statement. They told me that they have no health issues. And then while the application was being underwritten, it wasn't even approved, the policy. While it wasn't even approved, they claimed that they fell down the stairs and they hurt their back and they wanted to collect each month, benefits. And I said, okay, fine, I'll represent you. I'll happily explain that to the company that it happened. Things happen anytime. But the insurance company found in their research before paying the claim is that there was a long medical history of back problems. Their doctor had suggested surgery. Their doctor had suggested other things, and they chose not to do it. They chose to buy a policy from me, to buy a benefit that covers the back, and to lie and to say to me, Salil, put it in as there's nothing wrong with us. Then a medical examiner went to see them, take blood, urine, EKG, and they lied again. They said, no health history of back problems. So the application was submitted, and then they go on claim. They go on claim almost within a month of application. And now the insurance company turned around and said, why would we pay you if you're fraudulently telling us about your back and medical history? It's not what we think or you think, it's your doctor's history.
Why did the state take away your license?
State took away a license for a separate reason. It has nothing to do with this matter. The state took away my license because I had a lawsuit in 2006 that I had to report to the insurance department, which I did. I told them that I had a lawsuit, and that lawsuit was an insurance company suing me for $8,000, and I owed them $8,000, and they owed me $8,000. It was a wash. But they decided the agent in question took the money. I was a partner with another agent, and that agent took the money, and I said to the insurance company, I said, listen, you owe me 8, I owe you 8. They said, no, just pay us 8. I said, no, I'm not going to pay you 8 if you let the other agent get my 8. You guys paid it to him, not take it back. And the insurance company is suing me for that. And I went in court and I told the judge, that that's the case. So the insurance company lied in court. They said, no, there's no such case. Now, by the way, this Monday, the lawsuit is going in from me to sue that agent for lying and putting all that fraudulent information with the insurance company to say, no, nothing happened. Now, the state of New York Insurance Department said to me, Salil, why didn't you tell us about it? And I said, I did in 2006. Look at your copies. They said, well, we've lost 7 years of copies. So the hearing judge, I sat there in the insurance department, New York office, downtown Manhattan for the whole day, putting all the facts there. The fact of the original lawsuit with that insurance company, the facts of what happened with that agent. And the hearing judge, David said, you're correct. Salil, you're right. There's nothing wrong. This should be not even an issue right now. But the attorney.
Okay, Salil, all right.
I'll send you a copy of it.
I hear you, and you'll be able to defend yourself in court against the couple who filed suit, against this insurance agent regarding your license being taken away, and now on the dog case. My last question for you is this. Do you regret
Sorry, you broke up.
What you did in shooting the dog? In other words, if you were in that situation again, it's breaking up. My apologies. Regrets, would you do it again if you were in the same situation?
David, I would have to do exactly the same thing to defend myself. There was no other option. Number one, some people wrote, to me, they texted me and they said, why couldn't you use a golf club? Well, let me explain something to people who play golf will appreciate this, and people who don't know golf should understand that if I'm driving, and if you look at the video, and the golf cart is going this way, and my golf clubs are back there, if I were to reach back to get a golf club and try to bring it out, it wouldn't have come out. I would not have been able to pull a golf club. The only way you can get a golf club is you get out of the cart. Now I would have to get out in front of that attacking dog and the 2 other dogs right there in front of them, go behind my car, pull a club straight up, and then try to swing at 3 dogs with a club in that instant moment. That was not happening. These dogs I would have tripped, I would have fallen, they would have mauled me, I would have put myself on a platter for them. So the golf club is not an option. As I was driving towards my golf ball, the way we play golf is you get to the golf ball, then you decide what your distance is, then you go to the back of the cart, take the appropriate club, and hit the ball. We don't walk around with a club inside the cart just randomly saying, oh, let's keep a golf club in the cart. This is not like a walking cane. Golf clubs sit in the golf cart. So the only thing I had to defend myself was my gun. Somebody else would have been mauled. Now, what I do regret is that when those guys on the 18th hole saw the shots, they actually drove 2 of them in one cart over to the dog. They saw that the dog was dead, and then they went back to wherever they went, either to play their hole or to call the police. Now, what I regret is I should have gone to them, fellow members, and say, excuse me, I would just be as pissed off as you if you saw only shot number 2 and 3. This dog attacked me, and I was doing this. Maybe then they would have said, oh yeah, we know we got the dog problem. They're everywhere. Why does Wyndham have them here? Why can't they deal with the iguana some other way? Why do we in the golf course community have to deal with this risk?
Why not get the dog? Why not get the dogs? Why not get the dog some medical attention? Why not get the dog some medical attention? I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe the dog was dead.
The medical attention for that dog?
Yeah.
I saw where I shot him. It was right here, right in the belly. He was going to die in seconds. And if he was rabid, which he possibly was, because these dogs are not supposed to attack humans. They're supposed to attack iguanas. Now he's attacking me, he's attacking Tori, then he's coming back to me. So if he's rabid, and I would have tried to scoop him up like I would my own dog, which I've done once before when my own dog was hit by a car, I scooped him up and I took him to the hospital. This dog would have just bit me on my arm, and the other dogs would have gotten me. They would have gotten me again. So I was not in the position with these dogs to be of any rescue, and he was going to die in maybe 8 seconds, 10 seconds. Okay. He was gone. Fair. There was no way to help him. The only thing I can do is not make him suffer.
Salil Zaveri, you will have your day in court. And as of now, again, just last question, if you had a preference, do you want someone to represent you or do you want to represent yourself?
Well, I don't know what I'm doing. You know, I mean, I definitely need a lawyer, and I would like the lawyer and I to be on the same page. I don't want a lawyer that wants to play legal games and delay this and make this into a year or 5-year kind of a thing, you know, excuses. I just want to bring it in court. I mean, the next thing is on June 16, I believe, and that's a hearing where the judge will see if there's cause. Hopefully the prosecutor will have already heard from Tori that yes, Tori was attacked. Obviously this video, maybe they'll have access to it through you, or will ask me for it. I'll give it to them and they'll see. And you could play this video in slow motion repeatedly and you'll see if you were in that same situation with 2 other dogs and you know these are wild dogs hunting and killing iguanas, what would you do? I mean, there's no golf clubs to do. There's no running away. He's already in my face. Okay, and all 3 of them are right there. So, I mean, if that's not self-defense, I don't know what is. I don't know why the prosecutor would need a trial for that. I mean, those facts could have come out at the golf course at that very day if I spoke Spanish, or the officer, you know, had the opportunity to speak to me in addition to his 4 witnesses, which was the people who had half a story.
You will have your day in court and it'll come sooner rather than later. For everyone watching, again, this is pretty simple journalism 101 in terms of I reported on what happened pretty extensively. And I have always wanted to follow up and ask some questions of Mr. Zaveri. If you came to this interview late, once we conclude in just a moment, you can go back and watch it from the beginning. where he says what happened in his own words. The Attorney General's office and the prosecutor's office on the island is moving forward to prosecute Mr. Zaveri. And so we'll see what happens. Still Zaveri, thank you for coming on and answering the questions.
Thank you, David. And to everyone who's watching, I'm sorry that your perception of what's in the press, the way it was told by the witnesses with partial statements, made you angry. It would make me angry. I would be just as upset if I was at the hole-in-one watching such a guy get arrested. I too would be cheering. I'm not that guy. I'm the guy that loves dogs. I love cats. I've done a lot to help all of them, and I would never harm an animal. This was a life or death situation. It would be hard to believe for people who haven't dealt with that, but people who have seen that firsthand on the golf course of how these dogs hunt, and go on YouTube, and say wild dogs hunting and see what happens.
I hear you, but Mr. Zaveri, wild dogs hunting, you're going to have to prove that those, and you may prove it in court, but like you're drawing a case here that those were like assassins, in your words, who were going to eat you and kill you. For somebody like me, I'm just telling you as a human being, that seems a little far-fetched and hard to believe, but those are your words. You will have your day in court, and we'll see if you can prove it.
Okay, just watch the videos and you see how they're eating, kids, dogs, iguanas, everything. I mean, they don't know the difference. This dog was rabid. He doesn't know the difference. He's just going to do what he does instinctively. He would have then realized, that my neck is bigger than an iguana. The other two dogs wouldn't have cared. They would have shredded into me. They don't want
I've not heard any reports of these dogs attacking people at this golf course. Not one.
This was the first. They were attacked in all over Puerto Rico. They were attacked in New York. Dogs are attacking people everywhere. Wild.
Oh, I get that. You are on a golf course. You go there regularly. There have not been any reports of any dogs attacking any humans on that golf course.
Well, maybe it's covered up. I mean, it's happened. I'll get you witnesses that'll do that. They'll tell you what happened.
Okay, all right.
I already have people that reached out to me. People wrote to me and they say, this happened to me at Wyndham. This happened to me at Wyndham.
Okay.
So people will testify to show this happens, and I'm aware of it. I see this happening. I haven't seen the attacks on people, but they've told me firsthand it happened. And I see them shredding up iguanas that are this big. So, I mean, they don't have any issue with shredding things up. And they attack my friend's dog. They attack my friend. So this is what happens. Wyndham should never have dog packs on the golf course. Multiple dog packs.
Salil Zaveri, thank you for coming on.
Thank you, David.
Have a good night.
You too.